America didn't arrive at this immigration crisis overnight. What we see today at the U.S. southern border, chaos, lawlessness, and mass illegal entry, didn't just happen. It was engineered. It was allowed. And it was caused by leadership decisions at the highest levels of government. Let's be honest. The current border crisis didn't begin with President Joe Biden. Its roots trace back to the Obama administration, where Biden served as vice president. Together, they planted the seeds of today's disaster by weakening enforcement, empowering executive overreach, and sending a dangerous message to the world that America's borders were open in spirit, if not by law. Under President Barack Obama, immigration policy began to shift away from security and toward leniency. He introduced policies like Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA, which granted legal presence to millions of undocumented minors without any congressional vote. Whether you support it or not, DACA sent a global signal. If you get to America, especially with children, you'll likely stay. This incentivized illegal crossings by families, unaccompanied minors, and so-called anchor migration. The result? Waves of caravans and a humanitarian crisis that strained border agents, overwhelmed facilities, and set the stage for what was to come. But it didn't stop there. Obama's Department of Homeland Security selectively enforced deportation. He publicly referred to immigration agents who followed the law as being too harsh. Sanctuary city policies expanded under his watch, and his administration sued states like Arizona for trying to enforce immigration laws locally. By weakening interior enforcement and limiting state authority, Obama laid the groundwork for a national immigration breakdown. Then came Joe Biden. Upon taking office in 2021, President Biden didn't just maintain these failures. He accelerated them. In his first 100 days, Biden signed more than 90 executive actions on immigration, most of them aimed at reversing Trump-era enforcement. These included halting wall construction, even in high-traffic zones, ending the Remain in Mexico policy, which kept asylum seekers outside the U.S. during processing, narrowing ICE's priorities, making it nearly impossible to deport anyone who wasn't a convicted felon, promising a pathway to citizenship for over 11 million illegal immigrants. These moves were not acts of compassion. They were acts of surrender. They signaled to the world that America's borders no longer mattered, that laws would not be enforced, and that illegal entry would be rewarded. And the world responded. Under Biden, we've seen the highest levels of illegal crossings in U.S. history. Over 6 million border encounters since he took office. More than 1.7 million gotaways. Illegal aliens who evaded capture completely. A record surge in fentanyl and child trafficking, facilitated by overwhelmed and demoralized Border Patrol agents. This is no accident. This is the result of policy. When Biden undid the tools that were working, like Title 42 removals, asylum restrictions, and icy enforcement, he didn't just invite chaos. He made it federal policy. And now we're paying the price. Our schools are overwhelmed with non-English speaking students. Our cities are spending billions in emergency aid for illegal immigrants. Criminals are slipping through the cracks, and drug overdoses have become the leading cause of death for Americans aged 18 to 45. This is not just a crisis. It's a betrayal of Border Patrol agents, a betrayal of legal immigrants, and most of all, a betrayal of the American people. Biden and Obama both put ideology over security. They turned immigration into a political weapon, and in doing so, they opened the gates to cartels, traffickers, and chaos. They told the world, if you can make it here, you're welcome to stay, even if you break our laws to get here. And they called it compassion. But real compassion is a secure nation. Real compassion is a lawful path to citizenship, not a free-for-all that punishes those who follow the rules. Real leadership doesn't ignore the Constitution or silence Border Patrol or sue states trying to protect their own citizens. Real leadership defends its people. We must be clear. The immigration crisis didn't begin with a broken fence or a sudden wave of migrants. It began when our leaders stopped believing in borders and started treating American sovereignty like an inconvenience. And the two men most responsible for that shift are Barack Obama and Joe Biden. The solution? Reinstate Remain in Mexico, resume deportations, and end catch and release. Complete the wall where it's most needed. Defund sanctuary cities. And stop rewarding illegal behavior with legal benefits. Until then, the crisis will continue. And it won't just be a problem at the border. It will be a problem in every town, every school, and every community across this nation. This is a national emergency. And it's time we held the people who created it accountable. We need leaders who believe in borders. We need policies that protect citizens, not criminals. And we need to remember that compassion without order is chaos, and leadership without law is surrender.